2005 Nissan 350Z. Whenever I purchased the car, it had a blown up motor, no front end. At one point, the previous person that owned it thought it was a good idea to spray paint it. The next guy that owned
like
it.
rattle can?
Yeah,
really?
Full blown like Krylon rattle can the job. The person I bought it from started sanding it down to prep it. We had no garage, so he would sand it down, and then it sat and started rusting. It looked like an old farm truck.
So you really had just a shell to start with, pretty much, right?
Yeah, pretty much. There was no front end at all, no rad supports, no nothing.
Where did you start from that point?
The day I picked it up, pulled the motor, painted the engine bay. The car came with a new motor, got some mid-length headers, put it on that, and then within 24 hours, I was driving the car again.
No kidding.
Yep, from pickup to the first drive was 24 hours.
There's probably a story behind the wrap. Tell us a little bit about that.
So when I got the car, I wasn't super worried about it looking pretty. It had the whole patina look to it.
That's a nice way of saying rust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a classy rust.
Classy rust.
My buddy texted me one day, he wraps cars too. He's like, do you have any customers that would want a Galaxy wrap? Kind of a hard sell. I was like, you know what? Like, we can work out a good deal for it. I was like, I'll come pick it up. We worked out a good deal and I picked it up. I sat in the garage. I was looking at the car, looking at the wrap. I was like, let's just throw it on there. Like, it was something better than what it was. So the wrap kind of just like happened. It's a lot more attention than you would think.
Everybody that I've talked to about your car refers to it as the Galaxy Z.
Yeah.
You can never take it off now.
We keep it on for next season because I change up my wraps every year.
Oh, do you?
Yep, every year something different. I did that with my old Z. I'm gonna keep doing it with this one.
Have any ideas in mind?
I have tons. I want to do it as a U-Haul with the big 1995 a day with the orange like squiggle down the side. I want to bring back a wrap I had on my old Z that like everyone loved. It was a P40 Warhawk.
Oh,
like
nice.
The old bomber with the
Yeah.
shark mouth going down the side. A lot of people want me to bring back that one too, that knew me from that car. I really want to do it fuchsia with my logo and livery down the whole side of it. The chassis was like my main thing because when I put the motor in it, I knew the DEs on these cars are not the best. They like to burn quite a bit of oil. It's kind of like the nature of the beast with them. The motor has a Kintex Plenum, Nismo short ram intake, headers, full exhaust. So it's like very basic. I didn't want to get too into it and go crazy for a motor that I know I'm probably going to send a rod through the block and put a cooler, better motor in it to make some more power. Car's on Godspeed coilovers right now, just a cheaper coilover setup. The front is where most of the money went. It has GK Tech lower control arms. So the 350s have a two-piece lower control arm. So what the GK Tech ones do is it converts it to one piece. And there's a big cutout, so you have more steering lock, and they're all adjustable, all Heim joints. They're made from chromoly, so they're strong. You can go anywhere from a 1/4 inch to 2 inches over stock kicked out on the bottom, which is very good for handling and the angle. And then on that, I have GK Tech's super angle kit. And that's just very easy kit to go with. It just literally bolts onto your knuckle. There's no like chopping or welding like old 240s.
Yeah.
Because in the back it's a shock and a spring design, and with these it just converts it to one. You get rid of the whole lower arm, replace that with a bar, and then camber toe arms and all that.
How much below stock height are you? Like 2 inches lowered about?
Probably gets like 2.5.
Yeah.
It used to be much lower, but I was having issues when it would be at full lock. The fender would bite down into the tire with the white transfer. But over winter, I'm probably gonna go real low again. Hopefully get new wheels over winter time and just completely dump it. A lot of people that know me from my old Z knew how low it was, and I will frame bang everywhere I go. There's no mechanical sympathy when I drive my vehicles. If I made that low, I'm not gonna baby it and be like, oh well, I shouldn't have made it. I'm gonna rail everything.
Did you say no mechanical sympathy?
Yes.
That's perfect. Yeah. Tell me about the wheels.
They're an Avid 1, so they're a replica of a T37, which is my favorite wheel. I'm not like a huge wheel guy, but T37s, you got real big from your childhood and seeing them on everything back in the day. But I actually got the wheels for free. Most of the car is like that. I really have like no money into the car at all.
Really?
I think I estimate now I have like $1,000 into the car.
Come on.
Of my own money. So I wrap cars on the side.
Right.
So everything I do is with guys with these cars or similar hobbies or whatever, and we'll just work out trade deals.
Barter, yeah.
The wheels, seats, the harnesses, the nitrous that's going on the car here in a few days, steering wheel, like everything is just like all bargained and always hustled for.
So how did you actually get the car to begin with then? Is that like the only thing you had to lay out money for?
Yeah, pretty much. The car was actually local. It was one of my buddies who
Yeah.
I knew through having Z's. He had a 240Z and he had this, and the motor blew up, and that's when he was like, yeah, not the right time to have this car or whatever, you know, getting older, getting houses and all that. And I always told him, like, hey, you ever want to sell that car? I was like, you call me first. I told him that since the day he bought it. And then one day I was at work, phone goes off, you want to buy the Z? I was like, I'll be there tomorrow morning. I said, Brad, low maxes. For someone being as tall as I am, I don't really fit super awesome in 240. It's kind of awkward for me. And since the Z is a bigger car, I fit better. The low max put me real low. Onto those, I have Buddy Club ultra low seat rails. You have a helmet on when you're on track. There's probably an inch above my head, factory location, but with these, there's like 4 inches. So there's enough room for helmet and actually move your head.
What'd you do exhaust-wise?
It's all real cheap stuff. The headers are just mid-length. Who knows what brand? I picked up for some guy. He had them, paid like $50 for them. Kind of wheeled and dealed with him a while. It's literally from there on back. It's just all eBay. It is a full stainless steel exhaust. 2 resonators on your mid-pipes. What should probably be a resonator, but there's not anything inside them anymore. And then the mufflers, and I don't know how much backing in those either. The last time I put the car up in there, I did crack it in like 8 places. We just welded it right back up, and we're good to go. It's been good now.
That the hood looks a little different because of the latches.
It's all air catches, the whole hood. There's no more hinges, there's no bracket.
So basically the hood comes off.
Yeah, it's a lift-off hood. The reason for that is if you're hot lapping it and there's not a ton of cars on grid, try to get it as cool as possible. Yeah. And the worst thing with drifting is you go there and the last thing you want to do after driving for 4 hours is to work on something and even put in 4 bolts. I did with my old car and my other buddies do it. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. My hood is going to be slammed on. I'm going to lash these and it's calling a day.
I usually ask somewhere in the video if it's something you'd ever get rid of. What do you think?
Over the course of time, the chassis is going to get beat enough that will probably end up being non-usable anymore.
It's not that you dislike anything about this car. It's just you bought this one for a purpose.
Yeah, I bought this one.
Of destroying.
I bought this car just to thrash. Like the body is all very straight on it. And me and my buddies always, talk about hitting each other and all that stuff, and like hitting walls and stuff. And some people aren't cool with that. Some people don't want to mess up their drift cars. I bought and built the car just to thrash it and beat it. The big thing with the car too is whenever I got it, I had a lot of friends that got into drifting whenever they started talking to me and hanging out with me a lot more. They're like new to the car industry, new to the car world. So that's kind of intimidating for younger people. As many people as I could, I would let work on this thing. So if I was doing something like the one person, he's never seen a motor get pulled, he's never seen any of that, and he has to help. But it's more of the learning thing of saying like, okay, you have a basic idea. It was like 2 weeks ago, he pulled his motor out. He's ready to put a new motor in his car. When I got the car a year ago, he's never seen that before in his life. So it's nice helping other people, get them more into it, get a little bit hands-on. Whenever I was young, because I grew up on a farm in the middle of the country. I didn't know there was even like a car scene local to this area. I thought I was just a weird dude with a Japanese car just living off farm in the middle of nowhere land. I was like, man, it'd be cool to cruise with some people or like talk to someone about imports and that stuff. And then I found out Pittsburgh has a pretty decent car community. I started coming out more, started meeting a bunch of people. Like the hardest thing is just going into something and you don't know anyone. It can also be intimidating because you see someone with like a built car or whatever and you don't know much. You don't want to think like you're an idiot. You just gotta find someone that's like cool, wants to teach you about it or just talk to you about it, introduce you to the world. We all started somewhere. We all didn't start by jamming big motors with turbos in cars. Like we all started by pulling a cone filter on your Civic in high school and thought you were the coolest person in the world. Start small and work your way up.